And welcome to the first edition of the Mojobreak Blitz. Cody with you, Doug and Dan here with me, as well as we are getting set for week one of the National Football League. We're going to see the Chiefs and the Texans to kick things off. And guys, are we ready for some football or what? How you guys feeling?
I've been ready. The revenge tour starts Sunday for the Niners. I've been ready for a while, so I can't wait to watch. From 10 o'clock Pacific to 8 o'clock Pacific on Sunday. I can't wait to just watch as much football as possible.
Telling you, man, Super Bowl hangover. It's going to be a real thing for the Niners. I mean, it happened with the Rams the previous year. They struggled, so yeah, you guys lost some big guys on that line. You lost a Buckner. Buckner's gone. Emmanuel Sanders is gone, so I don't know about your revenge tour, but
so he asked you, are you ready for some football? So obviously you must be ready for the Niners to fail, is what you're going at.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
That's
Fair
number
enough.
that's
Fair
number
enough.
one.
We'll get that out of the way.
That's number one, and the Rams winning number two.
Okay.
All right.
See.
Well,
Fourth
let's
place
not go
Rams.
crazy here. No. Well, let's talk a little bit about that in just a second. We're going to start off each week. We're going to give you some picks here. We're going to pick 2 games a week, each of us, throughout the season. Maybe we'll even have a little giveaway. Maybe we'll wager some stuff. I don't know. We'll figure something out to throw on the line here and hopefully get you involved as well at home here on Mojo Break. But let's kick things off with a preview of the NFL season here, a season that, despite everything, it's happening. It's as normal as it can be. It's going to be, about 16,000, 17,000 fans in attendance at Arrowhead Stadium for the Chiefs' first post-Super Bowl game in just about 50 years. But we're going to have regular football, full 16-game slate for most teams, hopefully. And let's start off in the NFC. We mentioned the San Francisco 49ers. They are the defending NFC champions. But really the story of the NFC has been the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have gone out and had the offseason of all offseasons, getting Tom Brady from the New England Patriots in a move that I don't think I ever thought I was going to live to see. Rob Gronkowski, unretired from football, retired from the WWE, and is now on the Tampa Bay Bucks. What do you guys think about the NFC? Who do you guys got as the favorite in that conference this season?
Well, there's a couple teams that I think got a lot better. Arizona Cardinals might not be at the point where they're going to contend for the NFC Championship, but I think they're on the right path. Getting D-Hop. I think Kyler is explosive. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They could have a little bit of a balanced attack there. I think they can be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC. But it's going to kill me to say this, but I think the Cowboys, and I have a feeling that Doug is going to feel similar to that because we had been talking about that. But it's a make-or-break year for the Cowboys. And they have great skilled position players at every position. So I think the Cowboys are going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm going Niners. I think the revenge tour. I mean, he actually took my 2 picks, so I really am coming off the dome now. But so yeah, I do like obviously the Niners. And he mentioned that we lost Forrest Buckner and we lost Emmanuel Sanders. Well, we replaced them with the Young Bucks. We got some picks for them. We got Javon Kinlaw to fill in there, who I don't think is going to make an immediate impact, but I think he's going to clog some holes and allow either D Ford or another one of the linebackers to come in and get some sacks. So you may not see the stack category being, really lit up for Kinlaw. And then we got Ayuk, who's got one of the longest wingspans out of anybody ever that I think is going to fill in for Emmanuel Sanders. But I do like the Cowboys. I think on paper the Cowboys have the most talent in the league with the addition of CeeDee Lamb, with Amari Cooper, with Ezekiel Elliott with a great line still, and with Dak just getting paid and coming into his prime. As far as the Buccaneers, I'm not really a buyer. I'm not a buyer into the Buccaneers yet. I think Tom Brady has been used to something since 2000, and now it's something completely different. Yes, he has a lot of weapons there, but he's also racing against Father Time. And without a preseason, we'll see what happens with Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing. Obviously, not just for the Buccaneers, but really for all of these NFL teams. I think a lot of fans at first were like, yay, no preseason. Would be no, they'll have to sit through these meaningless games. And now it just kind of feels odd. It's like, oh, it's the first game of the season, and we haven't watched any football in a month, and I think you are going to see the level of play. It's really these first 4 weeks. I think the level of play is going to be kind of at a preseason level, and especially for guys like Brady and Gronk coming out of retirement for Gronk, what that Buccaneers team is going to look like is interesting. And the defense was kind of shaky last year. The first half of the season was one of the worst in the NFL, so I'm not completely sold on them as well. A team that I want to mention in the New Orleans Saints, which I think top to bottom is one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. Now, really, the question is, can Drew Brees for another season? Now over 40, can he put it together? The Alvin Kamara situation was something that came up last minute here, and is there going to be any lingering drama with that? But that's a really talented roster that added on, and I think they have a chance to, especially in a year where everyone's focusing on Tampa in that division, to kind of come out of nowhere. But I don't want to sound like a homer right now, and I understand that the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing, and for any other team, I would probably say not going to happen. They can't do it again. But this 49ers team is really talented. They have really done a good job of addressing some of those missing pieces. Getting Trent Williams to replace Joe Staley essentially is a huge pickup for this team. And really, the roster is pretty stable. There's a lot of guys from that team last year that are on the team this year, and they get George Kittle signed to the extension. So I think stability is going to be really important in 2020 with all of the weird training camps, all of the weird off-season training, no preseason. I think familiarity is going to go a long way. So if there's any team that has a chance to finally break that post-Super Bowl hangover, that Super Bowl loss hangover, I do think it's this team. Although I think the NFC West is going to be really tough top to bottom. I'm sorry to say this, Dan. I feel like the Rams might be the fourth team in the NFC.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
But that's not necessarily a dig at the Rams as much as it is how good that division is. And I think the Cardinals are another team that I will watch that I think can really make strides this season and be a surprise playoff team, especially with an extra playoff spot now in the NFL in each conference.
I mean, with the Niners, and I'm gonna dig at the Niner fans. Ultimate homers, and a lot of times super not realistic when looking at their roster. If you're a Niner fan, you look at your secondary, you can't say that it's one of the best in the league. There is question marks in that secondary, and going into this year with no preseason, injuries are going to play a huge part, even more so this year than any other year that we've seen. There is going to be substantial season-ending injuries because players are they're into a routine, especially veterans. They're so used to doing their off-season training, into their training camp, into preseason, and then into the season. None of that happened. None of it was regular. So you saw Von Miller, one of the best players in the league, defensive players. He's out for the year. So I think every team is going to have to be concerned with that. But come on, guys. The Niners secondary, you're telling me?
Well, I mean,
telling me first class?
There are problems. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
There's issues.
I heard that the Rams are actually going to change their name to the Ramses because they just basically gave up all their money to one guy who was basically a prima donna. So if you want to bank your secondary off of just an overpaid prima donna, that's fine. But you know what? You got one guy to rush the quarterback, and you got one guy to protect on pass plays. I don't know if that's enough to stop the teams in the NFC West. What are you going to do for D-Hop? How are you going to stop D-Hop? How are you going to stop Kyler Murray and D-Hop at the same time? Not going to happen. So those are already 2 losses against the Cardinals. Not going to be the Niners. Not going to be the Seahawks. That's 6 losses right there for the Rams. Hopefully I haven't really looked at the road schedule. There might be. I think they might play the Jets. Maybe you'll get one there. So I don't know.
Man,
maybe 3 or 4 wins for the Rams.
I hurt your feelings, didn't I?
No, I
did. Yeah. No. You just
your guys' window closed. You guys already went to the Super Bowl.
Straight up and just attacked. You attacked basically the best cover DB in the league, the best defensive tackle in the league. The Rams do have holes.
Last time I checked, there's 11 guys on the field, not 2. So
yeah, but I mean, are you going to let a guy like Ramsey leave? You're going to let a guy like Aaron Donald leave? It's different when it's the Niners because you're all, man, we signed George Kittle to the biggest tight end contract ever, worth every penny. It's typical Niner talk.
Well, he's
It's
PFF #1 player in the league, so he should probably get that kind of money.
Jimmy Garoppolo, steal. Every
QBs
signing
now, yeah.
Every signing, it's always like, oh, well, had to do it. Like, I mean, he's just best player ever.
Real quick comment for you guys watching this video. Would you rather have Jared Goff or Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback? Mark it down. Want to know.
Ryan Gosling. All day.
So it's going to be an interesting season, though. Obviously, you could tell our affiliation, and, it's...
Dude, I'm amped. I'm getting amped now.
I know, I'm ready. I'm
getting
ready.
amped. The only thing that I'm bummed is that every year for, like, the last, 15 years, 20 years, maybe 20 years, we've gone to the Rams-Niners game. Candlestick to the new concrete
Levi, yeah.
area that's kind of sterile and not a great stadium. Been there.
It's an amazing stadium.
No, it's not though. Yeah. You like it because you live walking distance. But if it was like 45 minutes away, you'd be like, yeah, I can go without it.
Well, there's the week 5 is when the game happens locally here. Maybe with our COVID going down at the moment, knock on wood, they'll allow some fans in. I don't know. We'll see.
Week-to-week basis is what it sounds like, at least locally, they're going to do. Obviously, other teams are doing different things. I mean, I think Jerry Jones is basically letting all of Arlington and Dallas area into the stadium if they want to come in. But, everybody's handling it a little bit differently. Hopefully, we'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can keep it safe. Maybe they don't – I know this is blasphemous. I love beer. Maybe they don't serve beer to make sure that people don't get, too rowdy and spread. And
what's the point?
Well,
that's a good point.
At this point, I'd make sacrifices.
If I can't spend $25 on an overpriced Bud Light, then why even go?
Just for this year, I get it, but because there's some people that just can't be responsible and drink and not stay away from people and not fall and stuff like that.
Jeez.
You've been to games, you've seen it.
Have a $20 Bud Light and you just start falling all over people.
Well, I mean, they have the bar,
point, yeah.
I'm just saying, if everybody's responsible and goes and watches a 3-hour game and just stays their distance, I think we can do it.
I have so the issue, the real issue is the pre-gaming before people go to the game.
Right.
It's going to the tailgates. If they just got rid of tailgates, that actually might
I don't think there if they did open it up to a certain percentage, I don't think there's any tailgate.
See,
no, I don't think they can.
The issue I have, and so football it's a social sport to watch.
Yep.
How are fans going to be able to digest it? Like, nobody, at least where we're at, you can't go to a bar and watch the games on TV. So everybody's going to basically digest football this year by themselves on the couch, probably drinking some silver sodas, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have that social aspect of it. Yeah, you could.
Twitter, social media is going to be blown up.
You could send some text to some buddies and whatnot, but like that's the thing that's gonna take some getting used to, is the fact that it's not gonna be.
It's a good point.
A social aspect to watching football.
Yeah, even more so than the other sports, and maybe they do something like get creative. Maybe you guys went to that Metallica drive-in concert. If there's a Sunday night football game and it's dark enough, heck, why not Sunday night football at the drive-in or something like that? I think that's something that would do really well, and you've got a tailgate basically while watching the game on a giant movie screen. I think that would do.
And then you have the camaraderie of the fans.
Part of me is like, well, they can do that at Levi Stadium. Have a giant parking lot, but they blow that stupid foghorn every time they have a touchdown, so you would know 30 seconds. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there'd be that delay.
So you'd be like, oh, looks like we're going to score.
Well, I apologize. You guys don't score enough touchdowns to know what a sound sounds like for your stadium.
What a sound sounds like?
Yeah, well, I don't even know what kind of sound. It's probably like whatever like a weak lamb would make when you say like, bah, when you guys score or something. I don't know. But anyways,
well, I mean,
the NFC is a very heated debate around here.
Stacked.
So
the NFC is stacked this year. We haven't even talked about any of the NFC North teams, if you've noticed. The Packers, who were in the NFC title game a year ago, or at least they showed up and said, hi, we're here, and then that was about it. And then the Minnesota Vikings as well, who have still got a lot of talent. There's a ton of talent. I think this is probably the superior conference of the two, despite the fact I think the Super Bowl champions are playing in the other conference. So it's going to be tough. But let's speak about that other conference. That is the AFC, where the Kansas City Chiefs are going to open things up against the Houston Texans. And the AFC, it's with Patrick Mahomes on the come up and really becoming the face of football with that Super Bowl comeback victory in Miami against the 49ers, and with an incredible playoff run for him and the Chiefs. It's easy to forget that we all were a lot of people were really resigned to the fact that the Baltimore Ravens were going to run away with the AFC. Lamar Jackson was setting the world on fire, setting records every week, on his way to the MVP. Another roster that was up and down, probably the most talented roster in all of football, and then they laid an egg because they faced the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs, who were the other great story in the AFC last year. So, guys, is this Patrick Mahomes' conference to win and his league to take over now? Or do you see a team like the Ravens, maybe like the Titans, kind of building off of last year? Heck, maybe even the Buffalo Bills, who had a nice year to end last year, or maybe even Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. Who is going to be taking the AFC crown?
I'll take this one first. I think the Ravens and the Chiefs regress. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, but I feel like Patrick Mahomes, and I'm not hating on Patrick Mahomes because obviously he is the face of the NFL right now, but I feel like a lot of those plays last year, a lot of those big plays were right places at the right time. There was a lot of just sidearm throws that got caught and ran for 70-yard touchdowns that, you know, a lot of times the dice is going to fall a different way, and I think this is the season that it falls in a different way. I'm a big believer in the Buffalo Bills. If you look at the 2018 rookie class, you had Baker Mayfield, you had Sam Darnold, you had Lamar Jackson, and you had Josh Allen. And I think Josh Allen is the one that completely gets overlooked by all those guys. I think that Baker Mayfield got the biggest notoriety in 2018, and then last year we were talking about Lamar. I think quietly Josh Allen had an amazing season. The guy's got a great arm. He can run. I think he's had over 100 yards in a lot of games last year, and their defense has always been pretty solid. They've got some great guys on defense, and I think Devin Singletary builds upon his success last year, and I think the Buffalo Bills take that division and go to the AFC Championship game.
Wow.
I like that. That
Bills Mafia.
That is definitely I think with Stephon Diggs being on the Bills is going to change. Yep. I mean, Allen.
The kid's got guts.
Under the radar. I mean, he could move. You see him scramble. I mean, and he doesn't hold back. He kind of reminds me of a Steve Young type of player.
Yep. But with a more powerful arm.
With a bigger arm, but like same mentality. Like he'll do whatever he has to do, dive head first to get a first down. I like that pick. I'm going out on a limb on this one, and we're gonna see tonight because I like the Texans, and I like the Texans. I think Bill O'Brien always he gets hated on every single move he makes. Every movie he makes.
Terrible coach,
but he isn't though. That team is always good, even if they're not the most talented team, talented roster. They're always good. They're always in a run. They're always making it to the playoffs.
Have you seen some of the just most terrible calls that he made last year? There was a third or fourth quarter where he just made the most crazy play calls that just lost them games. I don't know. I don't believe in. I think the team's good, but I don't like the coaching.
So, well, I mean, it's not your platform right now to say. So, I think we're going to see tonight. Deshaun Watson is going to take that next step. He is going to be maybe not considered the best quarterback in the league, but he is going to be in the top 3, and he is going to be the future of that position. If Brandon Cooks stays healthy, if Will Fuller stays healthy, if QT stays healthy, I mean, they have a lot of guys who tend to get hurt. If David Johnson stays healthy.
Is Cooks the guy that's had like 3 or 4 concussions already?
Cooks is, yeah, but he's still explosive.
You may not even know what team he's on.
He can definitely stretch the field, and
He may come out and say, thanks.
I'm missing another guy. Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb, who's a great possession receiver. I like the Texans. I think we're going to see tonight the Texans beat straight up beat the Chiefs at home. Wow. And that's not my pick. That's just to get the ball rolling and to show that the Texans are for real.
I feel like though there's a lot of ifs. If this guy's healthy, if this guy does this.
Oh, it was all ifs.
Yeah. But I respect, because the Texans to me were the team that everybody was clowning on all offseason long, and frankly, I think for good reason. That trade for DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is one that they're going to come to regret. And I think that Bill O'Brien as a coach, maybe some questionable decisions, but I think it's more him as the GM, the guy actually making the roster.
Right.
I think is really the thing that.
That's a good point. I usually don't like the dualness.
Yeah.
You have a coach and you have a GM. You can't have a guy that does both.
But there's no question
Successfully.
Deshaun Watson is going to be a phenomenal QB and among one of the best in football, I think, for a long time coming. So maybe they said this is DeAndre Hopkins a great player, obviously, but maybe it's a vote of confidence in a weird way for Watson to be like, we can basically throw anybody at you for targets because we believe in you that much. So I am going to, as much as the Chiefs, I think, feel like the favorites with Patrick Mahomes on the come up and a team that is mostly coming back, all the pieces from last season. I think I'm going to go with the team that was the best all of last season. That is the Baltimore Ravens, where I think they're still a really talented squad. I really think highly of Lamar Jackson, and I think that maybe a year of him sort of tinkering, retooling. We heard from their practice that he was really focused on separating himself from being just the running QB, where I think I saw a stat that in games where he did not have, I don't remember the exact rushing attempts, but basically games where his running game was a huge factor. They were one of the best teams of football, and then ones where I think he had something like under 20 to 25 carries. They were like 5-4. So he needs to become a better dual threat as a QB, and I think that's going to happen this year. They do lose Earl Thomas, but maybe that's for the best considering the interesting offseason that he had. We don't have to go into all the details of that. It was something. Look it up.
Yeah.
But I think this is still a team that is a really talented squad. I really like Harbaugh as a coach, and I really like Jackson as the guy to watch for the 2020 season in the AFC. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be on a mission to reclaim the throne here in the AFC.
Yeah, and they didn't really, besides Thomas, I think. And it could be a concern. The one person they did lose, I want to say it wasn't Mark Andrews. It might have been Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, he's on the Falcons.
That's right.
If you look and if you watched Ravens games, it seemed like Lamar Jackson, his first looks were always to the tight ends going over the middle.
Yeah.
So him losing a big target like Hayden Hurst hopefully doesn't affect him too much.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It could definitely have an effect. But before we get off the AFC, the other big story, of course, in the AFC, out of the AFC East, the Patriots. Is the dynasty finally over? It felt like it when Brady leaves and the keys to the car are handed over to Jarrett Stidham. And the team all offseason long said, we believe in Stidham. He's our guy. He's the starter. And then, oh, look at this. Cam Newton is now on the New England Patriots. And then when Stidham, I think, had to sit out for a couple practices due to some injury, Newton is easily the number one. He's now captain of the team. So much for that plan. Do you see the Patriots with Cam Newton making the postseason, making the playoffs here, or is it done? Have we seen the last of the New England Patriots at the top of the football mountain?
I mean, if Cam Newton returns to Super Bowl 50 Cam Newton season, then I think that they have a really good shot. They don't have a whole lot of talent on that team. I believe it's Edelman, and then there's a bunch of kind of no-name guys now on that roster. The Cam Newton situation was interesting, though, because I did go to the Panthers-Niner game last year where he was on the sideline, and it was like everybody week 3 just said Kyle Allen's a future. And I was just like, man, you had a guy that took you to the Super Bowl that's, arguably an MVP type of quarterback, and then this one guy comes in for 5 games, and all of a sudden you just forgot about Cam Newton. So I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes Cam Newton stuff that may not work with the Belichick offense because, I mean, he was so cheap that if he pulls some kind of stunt, doesn't show up to practice, he may get cut. I don't know. That's the one concern about him, but it's like it's so weird that you had a guy that was that successful that within 5 games was just basically blackballed from the team.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about injuries a lot, but Cam Newton has been beat up, and he plays a very hard-nosed, aggressive quarterback position. He doesn't stay away from getting hits. He was a rookie in 2011. It's a lot of mileage on a body if you're going to be taking those type of hits.
Sure.
If he could stay healthy, I know I've been saying it all podcast, if he could stay healthy, they absolutely could go for that division. But they're going to have to go through the Bills.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be between the Bills and the Patriots in that division.
I think the Jets will put together a few good games, but I think they're still I think I like Darnold as much as I like Josh Allen, but I think I don't like Adam Gase. I think he's a good quarterback coach. I don't think he's a great head coach. And they have one first rounder in the last. Well, they have this year's first rounder now, but they have one first rounder in the last 10 years. That organization's a mess. But I think Darnold will be good eventually, given the right circumstances.
And don't forget the Dolphins too, who I'm not saying they're a sleeper pick, but they had a really good second half of the season last year. They have Tua there. He's not the starter to begin with, but I don't think it's going to be very long until Tua is the starter over in Miami. So they're going to put up a fight as well. That's going to be for the first time in many, many years, an AFC East that I think is going to be a really, really interesting division to watch.
It's not going to just be owned by New England.
Yeah,
so
it's refreshing for
and isn't the Dolphins the team that beat New England the most? Like they'd have is it the Dolphins? They had like a terrible record, but they somehow would always beat the Patriots somehow.
It was them that I think beat them near the end of the season last year.
Yep.
That gave
badly,
Kansas
right?
City that bye week. So.
Yep.
That's a team that I think is very confident about their place here in 2020. Yeah, so we'll see what Belichick can do. If basically this is really, I think, a big test for Belichick's legacy. Can he do this without Tom Brady? And both of these guys are testing their legacies this year. Can Tom Brady do it without Belichick? Can Belichick do it without Brady? And it's going to be really fun to watch. Let's wrap things up here with our Week 1 picks. Every week, we're going to be picking 2 games each. And, Dan, I think you had the rules pretty well in hand. Why don't you go over some of the rules of what we're going to be doing with our pick'em here?
We're going to pick 2 games, one AFC game, one NFC game, and you could only pick one team twice throughout the full season.
Right.
So you couldn't basically pick the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Texans
every single week. Yeah,
every single week.
Or the Niners,
Or the Niners.
Right.
So, one AFC, one NFC, and that's pretty much it. 2 games.
All right.
And you want me to
Kick
start it off? I'll kick it off.
I
All right.
should say I think the lines on this graphic we have are from when they first announced the schedule. So just keep that in mind. Not quite up to date because they have 10.5 favorites for the Chiefs tonight, which is not the case.
All right. So my AFC game is Jets versus Bills, and I'm going Bills straight up.
All right.
And my NFC game, Saints, Buccaneers. We're going to see the old guys do it against each other. We're going to see Breeze and Brady.
Matchup.
It's going to be a great game.
It's going to be exciting.
I think Breeze gets that one. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to have a bad year, but they're having a tough game and a tough team to start against.
Yeah.
So I'm going Saints.
And I'm going in the NFC. I think I'm going with the Cowboys over the Rams. Cowboys are on the road. I do like this Cowboys offense with the addition of CeeDee Lamb. Ezekiel Elliott is arguably one of the best running backs in the game. Dak has a lot to prove. Overall, I think they're like I said before, I think they're the most talented team on paper in football. It's just getting everything to work. They got a new coach. Jason Garrett's out of there now, so I think they're going to come out and they're going to set the tone. And Jalen Ramsey's not going to be able to stop them. And then we're going to move over to the AFC, and I'm going with the hard one. I'm going with kind of a sleeper one. I'm going Broncos over the Titans. I do like Drew Lock. I think he comes out and sets a tone. They have Cortland Sutton's been playing better. Jerry Jeudy they drafted this year as well, and I think that they're gonna have a great game over the Titans. I think the Titans are gonna have a little bit of a slow start, so that's where I'm going.
And they got Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay.
That's right. They have Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, before the Von Miller injury, I thought the Broncos were a good sleeper pick.
Yeah.
With that extra playoff spot, but not so sure about it now. But that's
The Von Miller thing. I mean, but they do have Chubb who
Yeah.
can pick up the pieces a little bit. Who's been studying under Von Miller, so hopefully he can make a big impact. Losing Von Miller's huge, but I just I like Drew Lock's energy out in the field. I like his ability, and I feel like he's got an upgrade in talent on that team.
Yeah. Well, I went a little strategic with the picks here since the rules are we can only pick a team twice. So I went with teams that I'm probably only going to pick this week and this week only. Starting in the NFC, the Bears versus the Lions. I've got the Detroit Lions actually pulling this one off. Chicago, I just not that much of a believer anymore. They were so good a couple years ago. I think this is one where, especially in Detroit, I think that the Lions can take this from them, sneak away with the win. And I'm going to go with the Colts over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And remember when the Jags were in the AFC Championship game a few years ago? That feels like it was a million years ago. They might be the worst team in football right now. And the Colts are a decent team. Phillip Rivers is now there with a good offensive line to protect him. So I think the Colts, again, not necessarily a great team, but hey, I think a team that can sneak into that final.
Speaking of the Colts, did DeForest Buckner opt out of the season, or is he playing?
I'd have to check that.
I know he mentioned a couple months ago that he was thinking about it, which would be a really hard blow for them.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's playing because I haven't heard much about it. So
I like that Colts pick. I've always liked Phillip Rivers, and I've always been like he's gotten so close. He's been on really good teams, just can't get over that hump. I would love to see Phillip Rivers win a Super Bowl, and it would suck that it wouldn't be for it because he spent his whole career with one team.
I know.
But I would
forever a road team for the last couple of years.
I would love to see Phillip Rivers get one.
I would too. I would too. It's a shame that it didn't happen for San Diego, and then the smattering of fans that decided to stay aboard when they moved to LA. And before we wrap things up, we talked about our AFC and our NFC favorites. So real quick, who you got Super Bowl champions when they play in Tampa Bay, hopefully in February of next year?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You're
Deferring.
You're gonna sit here and think about it, huh?
Yep.
Oh man, I was speaking such a big game. I can't go back. Texans.
Wow.
I gotta do it.
Well, go put your money on Sportsbook because I'm sure it's like a 50-1 shot.
Oh yeah.
I got
So,
it. I can't. Sit
Vegas
here,
Dan over here.
I can't sit here and be talking about how great the Texans are going to be and then not pick them to win the Super Bowl.
And it's really hard for me to not be a homer, but I think I have legitimate reasons to be a homer on my pick. It's not like my team was 4-12 and I said they were going to be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, but you probably would though.
No, I wouldn't have.
If 4-12, no, we can go back. We have archives.
Oh, I may have said it, but
we have archives of podcasts where Doug's all, I don't know. Anything can happen. My team looks pretty good.
Yeah, but now that we're officially having an NFL show, it's my responsibility to not make irresponsible picks.
Right. Yep.
But this is not an irresponsible pick. The Niners are going to get it. The revenge tour is real. The schedule's actually softer than it should be for a team that just went into the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to happen. Jimmy's going to get that chip.
All right. Oh, man. Part of me wants to say the 49ers, but you know what? I'm going to try to separate the fan self from the analyst self. And by the way, Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, how much does the NFL want Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks to play a home Super Bowl this year? I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll find out.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out how much they want.
Yeah, you're right. Going to be a lot of interesting calls with about 2 minutes left.
You're going to see a lot of balls. You're going to be like, man, that ball looks kind of flat out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, keep in mind also
that
there's not going to be fans to maybe turn the referees.
That's true.
Sometimes with the fans, you get booed so much that the refs are like, we can't make another call. So you're going to have that impact on the game.
Do you think, I know in theory that analogy kind of works, but you actually think referees look up and go, man, like, these people don't like me. I better change. I better like
I
make
don't
a favorable
I don't
call.
think they necessarily think that. I think that it's a psychological thing that when you keep hearing some negatives, it may sway the way you think.
But I mean, being on the field, like there's so much stuff going on. I actually don't think those referees even really pay attention to the outside.
Well,
noise.
I mean, I feel like we're seeing it with basketball. I feel like LeBron would get a lot more calls playing in LA with the fans booing calls than it seems like he's getting right now. But we'll see. I mean, we may have fans sooner than we think. I don't know. So
Yeah. Well, my pick, real quick, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I like the talent on that team. They were the most talented team in football, top to bottom last year. They're pretty close to the most talented again this year. I like Lamar Jackson. I like the coaching staff. I think that they are going to be on their own little revenge tour this year, and I see them coming out of the AFC and taking the Super Bowl this year.
can't dispute that.
So there you have it. Our first Mojobreak Blitz show will be back every week, every Thursday, to look at the slate of games and talk about some of the biggest stories in the NFL here on Mojobreak Media. And, of course, go over to our main feed on YouTube, our Mojobreak feed, for much, much more.
Lots of football breaks happening.
yeah.
Brand new mosaic. Immaculate collegiate football is insane. So check out the feed for those.
For Doug, for Dan, I'm Cody, and we will see you next time on the Mojobreak Blitz.